Hello, my fellow travelers. As we walk this crazy path called life, let's see what messages the universe has in store for us. Today's pick a card question is, what should I do for my career? Please remember that just because I don't list a career, it doesn't mean that something isn't the perfect job for you. This isn't an exhaustive list. It's just a general reading based on the day's current energies to offer suggestions for those who might need a little direction, all right? So timestamps are below. Let's get started. Hi, group number one. So for today's question, what should I do for a career? You chose pile one. And I'm taking a look at this, and it looks like this is mostly the media and lawyers and activists pile, but we touch on some other careers too, so let's get into it. Let's take a look first at our success oracle cards. We have Michael Bloomberg and Miuccia Prada. Hopefully I'm not slaughtering her name. So for Michael Bloomberg, I'm sure you know who he is. He's the three-time mayor of New York, and he also runs a major media company. And I can see a lot of you working in the media, television, film, news, blogging, YouTubing, anything where you can kind of influence other people's view of the world. I can definitely see a lot of you doing that. And let's see, his card says, take your paper route in new directions, because he owns a newspaper. If you make headlines, own them, and count on numbers to amount to something. Okay, and then for the second one, Miuccia Prada, her card says, strike while the market is haute, Haute. Applicate your pattern to the big picture and wear many hats but design all of them. So for Prada, she obviously runs the designer label Prada. I think some of you are going to have careers in the fashion industry. Maybe you might be a fashion designer or stylist, or you could be like a clothing buyer for a larger company, or just work in retail. And I could definitely see some of you like starting an online store that drop ships clothes, or you could have like a brick and mortar sort of boutique as well. Or really, I mean, it doesn't have to be fashion. It could be any beauty business, like nail technician, hairstylist, makeup artist, owning a spa, anything where you make people feel beautiful. I definitely see some of you doing that. But I think for most of you, this card came up because you have a flair for style and you really know how to put yourself together well. And I think that whatever job you choose, your fashion sense is really going to help you move ahead in your career. So definitely keep that up. You're looking hot. Haute and HOT. Now, I'm looking at Bloomberg and Prada, and one common theme with both of them is that the career they made their mark in wasn't necessarily their first choice. So I think this is a key idea for you, group number one. They kind of both just went with the flow. In Bloomberg's case, he was let go from his Wall Street job, and he used his severance package money to start a media company. And it's huge now. So it was kind of turning lemons into lemonade for him. And in Prada's case, she was actually a leftist political scholar, but she moved to running Prada when she inherited her grandfather's company. So, they didn't find success they found success in their initial careers, but they didn't, that's not really what they're known for. They pivoted into something else. So I think that's going to be the case for you guys too. I think you're going to start in one job and you're going to end up pivoting into something else completely different. Okay, so for the archetype oracle cards, let's look at those. The first one is lover. So I'm not taking this literally. I think it's important for you to really love what you do, and that's why we're seeing this. And I think some of you are going to find some guidance from someone you love. Like, you might work for your boyfriend or girlfriend, or some of you might actually work for your family, like Prada did when she took over her family business. So I can definitely see some of you guys taking over like a family business, like keeping the love in the family, And then the second archetype oracle card says advocate. Um, and light attribute inspires you to put compassion into action. So examples of these kinds of jobs are obviously like lawyer, defender, legislator, lobbyist, anyone who works for social or environmental change. And and with this card and then 3 of the tower cards, we have the tower, the 10 of swords, and the 5 of cups. I'm seeing a major theme here. It does seem to suggest that a lot of you will work on tearing down bad things and helping people who are sad and have maybe lost hope, just kind of like the downtrodden people. So I think a lot of you are going to, be working on making the world a better place. I guess you could take the tower literally. It could be like construction or demolition for some of you. But I think since we have all these other cards, like the Ten of Swords and stuff, I think for most of you, it's actually about putting an end to things that need to end. Corruption and poverty, that sort of thing. Feeding the hungry. You get the idea. And again, here's another one. We have the Career Oracles card. We have Systems Buster. And that says, I tear down systems of violence and oppression, replacing them with universal harmony. So you guys are kind of like the world's white knights, just riding in and saving everybody. So huge theme here. I'm looking at these, there are actually 5 cards about this. There's the Advocate, the Tower, the Ten of Swords, and the Systems Buster. And actually 6, if you want to count Bloomberg's media card, since the media is another way to put someone on blast and sort of put an end to something. In fact, I could see a lot of you working for some place like Vice Media, that kind of place. So I think the idea with all of these cards is, again, taking down corruption and people who are causing a lot of harm to society and the earth itself. I could see you guys being like Erin Brockovich. That's kind of an older movie reference. I don't know if all of you have heard of that, but Erin Brockovich, she helped win this huge class action lawsuit and really just helped a lot of people. So I see a lot of you guys going to law school or maybe working for an NGO or starting some sort of charity. Anything where you can help out the people whose lives have been destroyed by society or by a company being shady. Yeah. And with the King of Swords, which I love, I think you guys are really smart and great communicators, and you're just really shrewd and just good at whatever job you do. So, you could probably be anywhere, but I think your ideal job would allow you to flex that intellect you have. And, like a lawyer would be a good fit for this, or again, the media. So let's look at some other options. I think I've kind of beaten that horse to death. So option number 2 is, so the second career option is the Keeper of Records. It's another career oracle card, and it says, I hold the records of other people's lives with trust and integrity. So these kinds of jobs include court recorders, file clerks, record administrators, paralegals, secretaries, service underwriters, insurance brokers, certified public accountants, auditors, and anyone who deals with completing, compiling, sorting, filing, and maintaining records. And it's interesting because a lot of those jobs I listed are sort of in the legal field, so it still kind of pertains to what we were talking about. And now in the Career Oracle card, we have the Block card, and this is what you should work on. And that says denial. The theme of that card is denial. And it says, letting go of a false reality now allows me to join the power of the present and experience a beautiful new future. So I think it's saying, don't live in the past and don't try to be someone that you're not. And this card actually reminds me of the Lover's card we looked at earlier, how you need to do something you love. and not something that your ego necessarily tells you that you need to do. It's kind of like that Leonard Skinner song, Simple Man. I think it's from like the 60s or 70s. Um, and the lyrics go, be a simple kind of man, be something you love and understand. And it's such a beautiful song. I think it has such a great message to it. So I think that would be the advice of this card. Just do something you love and understand, and just keep it simple, and you'll be great. And it's Simple Man, but of course that goes for women too. And then we have an action to do card, and that says adaptability. I let go and allow the universe to take the next step, moving me closer to my destiny. So this kind of echoes what we saw in the Success Oracle card, how it was talking about going with the flow, with both Bloomberg and Prada. And also the career Oracle card, letting go of a false reality, which we just talked about. So kind of some repetitive themes there. That's interesting. And all right, so for some other ideas, let's look at the remaining tarot cards. We have the Three of Cups and the Queen of Wands. So when I see the Three of Cups, you got these three women celebrating, lifting their glasses. I'm thinking party planner, wedding planner, working in events. And the Queen of Wands is also really social too. She's very charismatic and dynamic and just loves being around people. So I think a lot of you are meant to work with people in a really social way. Again, the Queen of Wands and Three of Cups are both really social cards. And, not to mention the lover archetype card we got earlier, just the love between people is important to you. So I think an office environment would actually be really great for some of you. If you're an extrovert and you're one of those people who gets a big charge being around other people, you might be happier in a big corporation where you'll have a lot of people to mingle and work with, and it'll just be really fun for you. Any job where you're working around other people. But I think for this personality type, publicity or promotions and events are the best jobs for, super social people. I think the important thing for you will be to find the right culture fit where people are kind of on the same wavelength as you. Every company has a different workplace culture, so don't be afraid to keep moving until you find the right fit. Maybe give it a year and then go on to the next one if you're not happy where you are, because the right fit is out there for you. So, yeah. So overall, I think we touched on a lot of careers, but I think this is mostly the journalism and lawyers and activists and changing the world kind of pile. It's for people who want to illuminate or fix the world's problems. But, we talked about some other things too, because not everybody's going to fit into that category. And again, another key theme here is that for this pile, where you start most likely won't be where you end up. So you really don't need to stress about it too much because it's not going to be the end all be all anyway. I don't see you climbing a traditional ladder. I just don't see that. I see you starting somewhere, anywhere, and then pivoting into your final dream job, your final dream career. It's kind of like how Sheryl Sandberg talked about in her book, Lean In. In America, it's not a ladder as much as it is a jungle gym. So, so don't worry too much, because if you just start climbing, you'll be fine. All right? Okay, so good luck. I hope that helps. Thanks, group number 1. Hi, group number 2. So today's question is, what should I do for a career? All right. Now, the first thing I want to tell you is I'm looking at this, and this is definitely the entrepreneur group. You are group number 2. But we have some other careers that popped up for others of you, so let's just take a look, shall we? So the first 2 cards are from the Success Oracle deck, and I got Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk. And I promise you, I shuffled these really well. And in the book, they're actually not next to each other. So I don't think they really, I think it just happened that way. But it's interesting. So Bezos, is the Amazon founder. And his card says, a marketplace will find a place in the market. And convenience doesn't come easy. And moral obligations fulfilled by Amazon. And then we have our Elon Musk card, and as you know, he's the SpaceX founder and Tesla co-founder, among many other things, many hats. And his card says, you can't make an omelet without risking a few nest eggs. And Icarus lacked a better spacecraft. And hitch your wagon to the future and design it yourself. Okay, so a lot of similarities here, obviously. They're both into technology. That's pretty obvious. And I looked into it. Bezos has a degree in electrical engineering and computer science, and Musk has degrees in economics and physics. So I think a lot of you could work in the tech field. I see computer programmers, software designers, network engineers, stuff like that. Another similarity is that, again, they're both entrepreneurs, which is why I think this is entrepreneur pile, and for other reasons too, we'll get into. And they're really rich. State the obvious there. So, I think that this group is meant to start some kind of company. And again, this is the entrepreneur pile. I keep saying that, but it's true. Now, between these two cards and the King of Pentacles card we pulled, I think your job is going to make you a lot of money. The King of Pentacles often works with real estate, but it could be any business, really. So let's look again at some more similarities. I think both of them actually had earlier careers in finance, so that might be a good field for a lot of you. Bezos worked on Wall Street in his early career, and Musk was CEO of PayPal, and again, the co-founder of, or I didn't say this before, but he's the co-founder of X.com, which merged with another company and later became PayPal. So they definitely both have finance backgrounds. And the final commonality I saw was that they are both into space exploration. I'm not saying that you'll become an astronaut, maybe some of you will, but this doesn't necessarily have to be a literal space exploration. Like some of you could be into astrology or tarot cards, just something kind of ethereal like that, because with the Judgment card here, I see a lot of you working with something a little otherworldly, something not in the 3D, just something a little out of this world, working with departed souls and angels, spirit guides, that kind of thing, like maybe being a medium. I think some of you might have some psychic spiritual powers there. Now let's get into the archetype cards. The first one we have is Servant, and this says delight in serving others with a free and loving heart. Now, some of you could start like a house cleaning business or cleaning for corporate clients or something like that. But really, for most of you, I think the reason this card pops up is because it actually ties in with the entrepreneur success cards, the Bezos and Musk cards. Because I heard someone say once that entrepreneurs are actually the least selfish people in the world, because in order for them to be successful, they have to learn to put the needs of others first. So they're always thinking about their customers and how they can make them happy. It's not about them. It's not about what they want. It's about how they can best serve their customers. Serve their customers, right? Servant. So I think this Servant card is actually about starting a company and serving the needs of the public, especially given these earlier cards we just looked at. And this next archetype card just really ties into this perfectly. It's Visionary, and it says capacity to envision what is not yet conceivable to others, willingness to proclaim a vision without regard for personal gain. again, without regard for personal gain, it kind of goes back into that sort of servant mentality that you have to have in order to be successful. Um, so I'm looking at this visionary card, and I'm definitely getting some of you have some big ideas, big ideas. I love it. And, others of you maybe have a small idea, but it will make a huge impact on a lot of people. Um, I think this pile, you guys are going to do something that's going to benefit all of society through your inventions and your companies and businesses. And yeah, this card also ties into the entrepreneur success cards with Bezos and Musk. And it also ties into this tarot card, the Page of Pentacles, because they have new ideas. And I think that's you. You're at the beginning of your career, or you're thinking about starting a different career. And some of you have an idea of how to start it and make it grow, while others of you will come up with an idea soon. And you're in the early stages, and you're really going to put in the work and the dedication to get it off the ground, because that's what the Page of Pentacles does. And you're really going to make it bloom. So I love that. So seeing that with the visionary card, is just great. And an alternative reading to the visionary card is that it could be a very literal interpretation. Like some of you have those psychic powers, and you're actually going to see visions. So that's cool. So let's go back to the career oracle cards. It says spiritual advisor is the next one. And it says, I guide souls along the spiritual path so that all may find their direction and purpose. And it says that this is the card of religion, spirituality, metaphysics, and the occult. So you are a beacon of light. And it says you may feel compelled to create a spiritual or religious group, retreat, or workshop, or to offer your wisdom through consulting, speaking, writing, or counseling. Or you could read tarot cards or something like that. So I see the spiritual advisor tying into the visionary card, with the alternate meaning of like seeing visions, and also the sort of space exploration we were talking about with the two success oracle cards, Bezos and Musk. Yeah, so interesting. Some of you definitely have a career in spirituality. Now, another career oracle card said musician. This is an option for others of you. It says the music of the spheres plays in my soul, allowing the universe to make music through me. These kind of jobs are obviously performer, promoter, music producer, singer, songwriter, lyricist, recording engineer, sound mixer, or teaching music. So yeah, I think there's a lot of musicians in this group, especially with the Judgment card and the angel, Gabriel, I think. He's blowing on the trumpet. So some of you are going to find a musical kind of job, and it's really going to be fulfilling for you. Now let's look at a possible block. This is something you have to be aware of. And it says critic. I will stop listening to my inner critic. I am divinely guided and loved in every moment. I am perfect. I cannot fail. So, when I see this and I see it with the Seven of Wands tarot card, I'm getting that the biggest struggle and the biggest hater you're probably going to have to deal with is your own inner critic. Okay, so stop hating on yourself. You're awesome. Don't be so hard on yourself. Go easy on yourself, because everybody else thinks you're great. So don't worry about it. But things look good. So I think you're going to overcome that. You're going to really start believing in yourself and making things happen. With the Wheel of Fortune card here, love it. Wheel of Fortune card is coming up. So once you decide on a career and start down that path, you're going to be given an amazing career opportunity, and it's going to bring you a ton of money, like King of Pentacles kind of money, because we got that King of Pentacles card. Now for our action card, this is kind of your to-do card. This is the action you should take. It says partnership. I trust people and the universe to support and strengthen me in everything I do. And when I see this with the Three of Pentacles tarot card, I see you working with other people to really take yourself to the next level. You're going to work with people who have strengths where you might have weaknesses, and they're really going to help you level up. Like, like if you don't know much about marketing, you're going to work with an amazing marketer to help you brand yourself and your business. If you don't know how to do the books, you're going to find a great accountant who's going to help you keep track of all that money you got flowing in, King of Pentacles. All right. So things like that. Yeah. So again, I think this group is mostly the business owners group. We got some other things in here. Some of you could work in tech, medicine, music, or the spiritual field. But even in those fields, I think a lot of you are going to find a way to run your own business. Okay, so I hope this helps. Good luck. Hi, group number 3. Today's pick a card question is, what should I do for a career? And, I'm looking over your spread, and I think you guys are mostly the politicians pile. We do have some other careers showing up here, and we're going to look at those, but I just wanted to say off the bat, a lot of politicians in here. All right, so let's take a look at our Success Oracle cards deck first. We have our first card is Deepak Chopra, and he's the alternative medicine self-help guru. And his card says, find the connection between mind, body, and wallet. Balance in all things, including your bank account. Learn the many meanings of intrinsic value. So I see a lot of you guys getting into lifestyle guidance. Whatever that means for you. You could be like a fitness trainer or a personal health coach or a nutritionist or a vegan chef, or you could do guided meditations or spiritual work. Basically just like helping people overhaul their lifestyle choices. Some of you might want to open up a yoga studio or a hypnosis studio. Just any kind of earthy lifestyle guidance or spiritual guidance is what I'm seeing here. And it doesn't necessarily have to be, he's a very spiritual guy, but I think he's about wellness and health. And I think that kind of translates to any sort of health-focused career. Like you could become a doctor, nurse, physician's assistant, radiology technician, an MRI tech, just anything where you work in a hospital or a doctor's office, or a med spa. You just want to focus on wellness and helping people get better and be their best self in whatever way appeals to you. So definitely very health-based. Our second person is Angela Merkel. I think she actually says Angela Merkel. She's the German chancellor. Now, she's interesting because Germany has Europe's wealthiest economy, but she's kind of known for her budgeting skills. I guess those are probably tied in together, actually. So I think the common theme between both of these people is they avoid excess. I don't know a ton about her, so it's a bit of a stretch, but just from what I've seen, I get that I think they're both minimalists at heart. The other interesting thing about Angela is that 5 of the other cards here seem to reinforce this idea of the politician. So, like I said earlier, I think this pile is mostly about politics for a lot of you. And I'll show you why. For our first career oracle card, we have the connector. And this card says, I connect people so they may share talent, love, and inspiration with one another. This could be matchmaking or recruiting or any sort of networking job. I really like the idea of human resources or sales or multi-level marketing for you guys. I think those are careers that can be found in almost any industry. So there's a good job outlook, and they're definitely sort of connector type jobs. And And again, I think that connectors also make excellent politicians, which is where I see most of you falling in. Um, and for our tarot card, our first tarot card, we have the Emperor. So I'm getting that you're really good at running things. Like you guys run shit, you know. Um, a company, a town, a state, a country. Like you guys run it. You should definitely be in charge of something, you know, or head a department because you were made for leadership. And, you know, with the Justice card, I see you working on laws, maybe enforcing them with like the police, but more likely you're the one making the laws. You could work in Congress or in the Senate. You could be a judge or a whip or your town's mayor. You could sit on the Chamber of Commerce. You could run for school superintendent. There are a ton of positions in local government. And that's where I see a lot of you working. I see a lot of you working in local government. I just see something really political with you guys, especially with the Five of Swords, which is kind of pulling your power moves to get your way, House of Cards style. Not really House of Cards style, I'm joking. But, you know, I know you'll be a much nicer politician than Frank Underwood was or his wife Claire. You know, it's kind of an old TV reference, but I think a lot of you still know what I'm talking about. And again, with the politics, we have the Five of Wands. I've always seen this as kind of the politicking card. These kids on here are politicking. You know, they're like dealing with petty squabbles and disagreements, and it's crazy chaotic, but you're actually kind of having fun doing it, and no one's really getting hurt. So that's politics, you know. And it's interesting because another group had some lawyers and advocates in them, but in that group it was more about sort of like tearing down bad and outdated systems. And in this group, I see it more as building a strong society and creating good laws. It's more about building and creating. So it's kind of like opposite sides of the same coin. So yeah, that's 6 political cards. Now let's move on to the next career card, which is the block card. This is something that could be blocking you. And that card says lack. The universal law of love assures me that I am entitled to a life overflowing with love, abundance, and joy. So watch out for any sort of lack mentality. And it's kind of interesting because earlier we were talking about sort of austerity and minimalism with the Success Oracle cards, you know, with Angela Merkel and Deepak Chopra and their sort of minimalist attitudes. So I love minimalism, and I think it's good to keep things simple and clean and minimalist. But I think with that, you just have to be careful that you don't let a closed hand lead to a closed heart. So definitely watch the any sort of lack mentality because you got good things coming to you, all right? And your action card is courage. I now release all fears about my future and confidently move forward into my destiny. And I actually think that this is actually what the death card is all about. It's about letting any fears about your future die because the sun is coming up and a wonderful destiny awaits you. So time to get rid of those fears and any sort of lack thoughts. All right, so we've gone over sort of like the legal path, but a lot of you aren't going to fit into that. So here's where it looks like some of you will fit in. For the Archetype Oracle card, we have Child Eternal. Determination to remain young in body, mind, and spirit, ability to see things with fresh eyes. So some of you are just going to stay forever young, you know, young at heart, and it's going to be important for you to find a job that allows you to do that. You know, something that could be stressful at times, but doesn't have a ton of responsibility because you need to be, you know, footloose and fancy free. So if that sounds like you could work in a restaurant as a host, a server, or a bartender, or you could work in an office as a receptionist or maybe a temp worker, seasonal worker. Um, I think those careers have that kind of live in the now energy that would appeal to a small group of you. Um, but for others, I think this card is just talking about working with children. So if that's you, you could be a teacher, speech therapist, principal, or pediatric nurse. Now, for the other archetype card, we have artist. So we've definitely got some artists in the group. And this is pretty obvious. Everybody knows what an artist is, but actors, writers, clothing designers, animators, photographers, sculptors, graphic designers, musicians. Um, and but with the Eight of Pentacles, I see some of you being like some type of a craftsperson or learning a trade where you work with your hands, like maybe being a tattoo artist, or maybe even learning more of a medical trade, like something where you still work with your hands, but it's like more medical based, like a dentist, a dental hygienist, an electrician, something like that. Okay, and then for the next career oracle card, we have Animal Guardian. I protect and guard the animals of the earth. All creatures fulfill a special purpose. So some of you just love, love, love animals, and you should definitely work with them. Jobs would be veterinarian, veterinary technician, animal researcher. You could work with wildlife in sort of conservation and protection of it. Or you could work with rescue associations in some capacity. There's also, the field of animal therapy where you help people, like if they have PTSD or some sort of trauma they're working through, helping them like by having them ride horses or, just work with different kinds of animals to sort of calm them down, and help them deal with their anxieties and stresses. Or you could work with SPCA or PETA. So yeah, we got some low responsibility free birds here. And we've also got some people who will work with children or animals. And we've got some sales, marketing, and human resources connector type people. We've got some artists. We've got some health workers and spiritual gurus. Got quite a lot in here. But again, the major theme in here for most of you is working in government, probably local government. So yeah, that's it. I hope it helps. Good luck. Thanks, group number 3. Bye.